Alright, so today we're combining two lessons. We're doing Module 3, Lessons 34 and 35. And the reason is because we're multiplying two-digit multiples of 10. Remember, multiples meaning you multiply 10 by a number, and all those numbers are a multiple, by just two-digit numbers using a place value chart and area model. So we're combining place value chart and area model with two-digit multiplication today. Now, if I move this out of the way. Solve the problem below in your favorite way using place value disk, area model, it should be OR, standard algorithm. This is going to be question number 1 in your math journal or your math notebook. This is going to be one of the ones I checked, so go ahead and label it and then move on. After you've solved it, move on after you solved it. Next one. Mr. Goggins planted 10 rows of beans, 10 rows of squash, 10 rows of tomatoes, and 10 rows of cucumber in his garden. He planted 22 plants in each row. Draw an area model and label each part, and then write an expression that represents the total number of plants in the garden. So an expression is just what we would call like a multiplication sentence, or the number, writing out the problem. So Mr. Goggins planted 10 rows of beans. Oop, might help if I use the right shape. So I'm going to use area here, 10 rows of beans. He planted 10 rows of tomatoes, 10 rows of cucumbers. I'm trying to make these as even as possible. And then 10 rows, beans, squash, tomatoes, cucumbers. Okay. Now, this is 10, because it's 10 rows. This is 10 rows. This is 10 rows. And this is 10 rows. Now it says he planted 22 plants in each row. That means in each of these, from left to right, there are 22 plants. So let's look at this. I have 10, because here's my number. How many 10s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 10s. And remember, we talked about yesterday that when we do area model, to find the inside, we multiply the outside by the outside. Well, we have the outside because it's right here. Now we do the other side, which is 22. 10 times 4 times 22. Miss Kohler, you've lost your mind. We can do 10 times 4. We can probably do 4 times 22, but now you're asking us to multiply 3 numbers together. Miss Kohler has lost it. Somebody, she's lost it. No, guys, I haven't. I want you to look at something. So, we know this. We know what 10 times 4 is. Because 1 times 4 is 4. And then we put a 0 in. And if you like it, then you should put a 0 on it. Man, I'm getting bad. Now we're going to multiply by 22. Because that's the only thing that's left. We've already done this. When you see parentheses, that means you do what's on the inside first. Well, let's look. What's 4 times 2? 8. All right. What's 4 times 2? 8. No problem. Still doing good. And then don't forget your 0. Hot dang, he planted 880 plants. That was a busy summer for Mr. Goggins, because that is a lot of plants. So we wrote our expression, and we did this, and we drew an area model, and we labeled each part. So Miss Kohler has not lost her mind. We just got to do a little practice. Alright. Solve each of the expressions below in the place value charts. So I'm going to do this one. Hey, look, aren't these the same numbers we just did in different orders? Like their parentheses on different things? Well, yes, they are. So let's go ahead and continue. So here it says I have 4 10s, right? Well, we already know that I can skip that step because I know 4 times 10 already, because I'm a genius and you're a genius and you already knew it. It's 40. So we already do that. I can mark it off if I've already done it. So now I have 40 times 22. This is where it becomes a little tricky. the number that does not have a 0, we're going to put that on the place value chart as 1, 2, 20, 1, 2. I should have said 10, 20, 21, 22. So do you see how I have a 22? Because I have 20 here, and I have a 2 here. Next, for every 0 you see, you move it over 1. Both of them over 1. So now I have the dots here and here. So if there were 2 zeros, you would have moved this one over 1, 2. But there's 1 0, so you move it over 1. Because when you multiply by 10, you move this way. When you divide by 10, you move this way. Talked about that several weeks ago. So mark these off so I don't get sidetracked, but I don't want to erase them because I want to see where I got my numbers from. That's kind of why I leave my arrows. Alright, the next thing. So we did the 22, we moved it because of the 0. Next, I need to make 4 groups of each of those. So now it's 1, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. Now you note that my groups are because they were groups of 2. That's how they started off. So that's how they need to stay. If I'm multiplying the top one by 4, then I have to continue to use 2 in each group until I have my 4 groups of 2. So, there you go. 2, 4, 6, 8. At my 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. We're at my 8. And then I have nothing here. I can't leave it blank. This number is not 88. This is 880, which means I need a 0 right here. I want to do this one with you. So now we've changed. Now we've changed our tune, haven't we? Now our 10 is with our 22. Well, hot dog, our 10 is with our 22. Well, that's easy. Because the 1, I know my 2 and my 2 stay the same. Because 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And then because of that 0, I put 1 0. Mark it off because I've already done it. Now I have 4. But I got to plant these. So I have 0 1s here, so I can do this. Leave it alone. Nothing there. You can put a 0 if you want to. 0. I can put a 2 here. 1, 2. And a 2 here. Note that the reason they're in different locations this time is because I have 220. So now I have 220. But now I need 4 groups of them. So let's do it. So that's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. Now I could put 4 zeros here. Does me no good really, but I can. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, and 8, and a 0. So it doesn't matter where it ends up. You can always do it. Alright, this is going to be, the last one. But this time, I'm going to set it up. You're going to finish it. Go ahead and write a 2. This is part of your math notebook. So the first thing you're going to do is 4 times 22. First thing, 4 times 20 is 80. 4 times 2 is 8. So that gives me 88. And I'm going to put 88 here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you need to back it up about 3 or 4 minutes. If you don't remember, I said when you multiply by 10, you do something. When I multiply by 10, you do something to the whole group. See if you can figure it out. That's number 2. Write your answer right here. Number 3. So we've been using the place value chart, so that one should be fairly easy for you guys. Now we're going to do an area model. So this is what an area model looks like. So I'm going to break this down kind of like I do with the place value chart, except for I'm going to have numbers up top and numbers on the side because it's an area model. So I'm going to make this side 40. And you'll see why here in a second. So 40. And this side's going to be 22. And here's why. Because I'm going to break this down into a 20. And I'm going to break this down into a 2. Now, 4 times 2 is 8. I'm going to underline these. 4 times 2 is 8. How many zeros do I have here? 1, 2, 1, 2. So that means 40 times 20 gives me 800. Let's do that again with different numbers. So now I have 4 times 2 is 8. Go ahead and do, I have a 0 here. I don't have a 0 here. 80. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these bad boys together because they're not in the same little box, but they're in the same big box. It's like all of us being in the same school. We all matter inside the giant box, which gives me 880. So you guys, I showed you this one. You need to write this down. You guys are going to do this one on your own. This is problem 3. You can put this under problem 3 too. It should all be together. Problem 4. Alright. So now you've been doing place value a little bit more. We should know. Because we're multiplying, we want at least one more than we normally have. We have ones, tens, and hundreds. And we're going to plant this in the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This number of groups and this number right here, this 0 number times moved. That means how many times you move it over. If there's 2 zeros, you move it over twice. 3 times. 1 time. And remember, we go that way with multiplying. Alright, it's going to be the last time I do area model with you. And I'm going to mainly just set it up and let you guys work it out. That's why there's a problem 4 here. So, I'm going to put my 30 on my side. It doesn't really matter. I just like doing this because it looks better and my head can handle it better. So I got 30 on my side because it has the 0. I want to break 25 up into 20 and 5. Alright, I'm going to help you with this first one. You guys are going to finish up. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. And then I'm going to put 1 0, 2 zeros. You're going to do that with this one. And then again, you're going to put those numbers together. And you can put it right there. They should equal the same because it's the same problem we're working out. So that was number 4. Make sure you write both sides. Last one is number 5. Same thing. I'll help you set it up, but you guys are going to do the rest. Ones, tens, hundreds. This is the number you plot. That's all I'll do to help you this time. And then the only thing I'm going to help you to do this time is split it up. So I'm going to put my 60 on the side because it's got the 0. I'm going to break my 34 into 30 and 4. And I'm going to multiply. Again, my numbers should end up being the same after I'm done. So that's it. Problems will be on the board. You only have to do problems 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I know that's on my video. So you should have 5 numbers or 5 problems, and you only had to do 2 completely by yourself, and that's number 1 and number 5. The rest, 2, 3, and 4, I helped you with. There should be no excuse why those are not on your paper. You will not be able to move on to Dreambox until those are done today. Have a great day, guys. Good job.